audience. This is a reference picture of the community that I will be talking about, the Hijras. Now, imagine waking up every day knowing that society refuses to see you for who you are. Imagine being denied education, jobs, healthcare, even respect, simply because of your gender identity. This is the reality for millions of people in the Hijra community in India. Many of us have heard the term Hijra or not, but how much do we really know about their history, their struggles, or their fight for equality? Not much. The Hijras are recognized as a third gender in India, but despite legal protections, they continue to face widespread discrimination. By the end of this speech, you will understand the Hijra community's rich history, the challenges they face today, and the progress they have made towards equality. Their story is one of resilience, one that deserves to be heard. Let's begin by looking at the history of the Hijra community. The Hijra community has existed in South Asia for centuries and holds a unique place in Indian history. Anthropologist Serena Nanda, in her book Neither Man Nor Woman, The Hijras of India, explains that Hijras were once revered in Indian society, serving as spiritual figures, dancers, and even advisors to kings. In ancient India, Hijras were often believed to bless newborns and newlyweds, as they were believed to bring good fortune. They were also entrusted with guarding royal harems in Mughal courts. However, during British colonial rule, everything changed. In 1871, the British passed the Colonial Tribes Act, which labeled Hijras as criminals and outcasts. They were no longer seen as spiritual figures, but as social outcasts, forced to beg on the streets to survive. This colonial era discrimination set the stage for oppression that continues today. While history shows us how Hijras were once valued, today they face extreme marginalization. Challenges faced by the Hijra community today, despite being legally recognized as a third gender in 2014 through the Supreme Court ruling National Legal Services Authority versus Union of India, Hijras still struggle with discrimination in daily lives. By one, lack of employment opportunities. Many Hijras are denied jobs simply because of their gender identity. A 2021 BBC News report highlights that most Hijras are forced into begging or sex work due to lack of employment opportunities. Even though the government has tried to introduce job programs, societal bias prevents real progress. 2. Discrimination in healthcare. Even when seeking medical treatment, Hijras often face refusal of service or mistreatment by doctors and nurses. Transgender healthcare services are still underdeveloped, making gender-affirming care difficult to access. 3. Societal rejection and violence. Many Hijras are disowned by their families as children, forcing them to join Hijra communities for survival. But even within these communities, they face violence from the police, from strangers, and sometimes even from their own families. In many cases, hate crimes against Hijras go unpunished due to legal loopholes and lack of police action. Even though the challenges are severe, change is happening. Activists and legal reforms are helping Hijras reclaim their place in society. Progress in the road ahead. Despite these struggles, there is hope. The 2014 Supreme Court ruling was a major step forward, granting Hijras a legal right to identify as a third gender and access public services. Organizations and activists like Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi have worked to bring awareness to transgender issues in India. Tripathi, a well-known Hijra activist, has spoken at the United Nations advocating for transgender rights globally. The Indian government has also introduced programs to support Hijras, including housing schemes, skill development programs, and educational initiatives. However, implementation remains slow, and there is still a long way to go. One of the biggest signs of change is in media and entertainment. More films, books, and news stories are focusing on Hijra representation, helping change public perception. When people see and hear their stories, empathy grows and societal change becomes possible. While legal victories and activism have made progress, real change will only come when society fully accepts the Hijra community as equals. Conclusion. Today, we've explored the history, struggles, and progress of the Hijra community in India. By one, historically, Hijras have held respected roles in society, but British colonialism led to their oppression. Today, they face major challenges, including job discrimination, lack of healthcare access, and social exclusion. However, legal victories and activism are paving the way for change, slowly breaking down barriers. Understanding their story is important because it represents a larger fight for human rights and gender equality. By learning about the Hijra community, we take a step forward, breaking the stigma and ensuring a more inclusive future for all. Thank you.